has other crap in it.
Sorry, I forgot to hit record. Sorry, Stephanie.
No, I don't care. I'm just saying I didn't realize that until I started, or even like, I don't mean to get this psycho, but even Costco chicken has filler in it. That's why it tastes different than if you just roasted a chicken breast yourself.
That's also why it's $4.99.
Yeah. But sometimes you'll eat it and you're like, why is it so like goopy? Like, because they're pumping starch into it and other thing and like sodium and other things. I mean, but I'm not trying to get like super psycho, but I'm saying there's a difference when you make it yourself.
I think one of the benefits, I think that's a huge one. I think one of the benefits to I in the current this is optimized me consistency project words, but I really like them, and this is kind of just I'm listening to her a lot right now, so I'm going to use her words. In today's modern food environment, right? It's really hard to get away from if you
Oops.
go anywhere pretty much. It's really hard to get away from um, that. The only way you can really truly know and trust that you've got like what what the fitness world, the nutrition world wants to call clean, because I think it's not black or white. And one of the things we'll keep revisiting to one of the themes we'll keep revisiting in this is there's no right or wrong. It's just like the best you can as often as you can kind of a thing, right? That's a sustainable approach. That's kind of what we're looking for. But you still need to be exposed to some of this stuff so you understand, like, oh, this is not all the same. Food that I make at home, there's a reason why it doesn't taste the same as it does. The mashed potatoes that I had at Lala's on Friday night, there's a reason why they taste so much better than my mashed potatoes do at home, right? Because they've got half a stick of butter and salt and all this other stuff that you don't actually even know what's going into it. And those are technically like real foods, not to mention the stuff that you might get at KFC. Who knows what's in that? But so like anyway, it's to bring awareness to the stuff that you're putting inside your body. Um, and this is actually a good segue to the worksheet. So um, I thought that this was kind of a fun little way to think about it. Maybe I'll change it for the next time, but like I have an RX, an advanced, an RX, an intermediate, and beginner level of these of what you commit to as your accountability for this upcoming week. And I technically only have 21 boxes, meaning 21 meals, 3 meals a day for 7 days. Some people eat more or less. The the point of it is I want you to try and commit to something that you're going to try and do the entire time. Some people like this is the first time they've ever done, and this is kind of piggybacking on Whole Life Challenge. Like the kickstart level of Whole Life Challenge is like it's very basic. It's like don't for I changed it in mine to like don't eat added sugars. So in a sense, like is added sugar really that big a deal? Kind of, but realistically, more likely, it's like look at the labels of the things that you're eating. Start there. Like start acknowledging the things that you're starting to put in your body. Oh, I had no idea there's all this stuff in these things that I'm eating. And then we kind of build on top of that. So the intermediate, I forgot what the intermediate one is, and I can't. Maybe I can look
Yeah, you can
at my
replace processed carbs with unprocessed.
Oh yeah. Okay, so meaning like um the super processed carbs, like really ground down and refined and things like that. So we're talking about like pastas. There's nothing wrong with this stuff, but there are better options, and we're trying to move people towards better choices. Um, yeah, instead of that, you do like something like a starchy carb, like a sweet potato, or hell, even a regular potato. There's nothing wrong with that. And that will kind of actually lend itself into something that we're going to do a couple steps later than this. Um, yeah, just trying to find like whole food options for some of the stuff that's like staples in people's diet is kind of the idea.
Is
RX
the
is,
reason is the
go ahead.
reason for that because processed carbs have more are more calorie dense? Like if you ate a serving of pasta, it's probably like 50 grams of carbs, but if you ate like a potato, it's probably less carbs.
Correct. Things that tend to be, if you looked, I think I posted a couple of days, maybe last week or something. That is a reason. It's not the only reason. Um, I posted like a lemon loaf or some EC Sinkowski. She posted on her Instagram like a lemon loaf that had like 470 calories or something like that, relative to like an entire plate, like five, what would be equivalent to like five pieces of fruit and or vegetables. That was like 370 calories. So eventually, that's kind of the idea. It's like the more processed things that we eat, the less that we know that we're putting into our body, the more likely we are to overconsume. Aside from the nutrient density imbalance between the two types of food. Um, what else? I don't know. Yeah,
An unprocessed carb would have more fiber in it.
tons more fiber. Well, maybe it has more fiber. Let's leave it there because tons isn't necessarily fair. There are some things that have um, added fiber. Like technically, when they process some of these things, they add. This is one of the reasons why it's like not cut and dry. Like it's not black and white. They enrich flour. They add iodine to salt. They add fiber to Impossible Burgers. You know, like there's a lot of stuff that you can't. They're trying to get around some of these problems that you run into with processed foods. But if you just ate the real food, you wouldn't have some of these problems to begin with. Is kind of the idea. ¿Qué más? So anyway, yeah. What's the RX version level of this? The quality food level or day week?
Whole, real, unprocessed food.
Okay,
Whole,
so
real, unprocessed.
yeah, so we're looking and where is this headed? It probably is headed towards you probably can't eat out that often. Um, realistically, you don't ever truly know what they're doing, how they're cooking your food, what they're putting in it, where they're sourcing their food from. If you're eating out, you can trust that it'll probably be mostly, especially depending on the restaurant, right? Um, California Chicken Cafe probably has a cleaner end product than McDonald's, but still you don't ever truly know where that stuff is coming from. So it's typically better if you're cooking your own food, because then you know how much of what you're putting into your body. So that's kind of the idea, the RX level. And then if you wanted to take that a step further, I think I love the Whole Life Challenge. I loved it. I think it's a really good, it was the first like nutrition intervention I'd ever done in my life. And I learned a lot. And every single time we did it after that, I learned a lot and I liked it a lot. I just think it's a little, especially the performance level, but even maybe the lifestyle level is a little restrictive in the sense that like you can't have certain coffee creamers. It gets a little too into the weeds in terms of like you can only use I might this might not be true, but like you can only use certain types of olive oil. No, that's Whole 30. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I like the lifestyle level as like the advanced version of, let's call it the quality week for our nutrition, F6 nutrition. So anyway, so you take that worksheet, you commit to one of the levels, you take that worksheet, 3 meals a day, 7 days across the week, you just kind of check it off. And how many of the meals that you ate throughout the day and the week are in line with the level that you commit to, and do commit to a level that you're like you could do on your like busiest, worst, most stressful day, right? Because that's realistically the one that you could probably continuously do indefinitely. And then maybe as we move through this challenge, and then maybe after or beforehand, depending if your life frees up or something like that before that, you can level up your commitment to yourself. But this is just kind of about learning, especially for some of the people that have never been on any of these calls. It's learning the habits and the foundational information. So that way we have something to build on the next time around when we talk about this stuff. You're not starting from blank, or you're not starting even worse, from failure, right? We want you to succeed at this. So pick something that you really truly think you can commit to and succeed with, so you feel successful and you build small wins as we kind of move through the next 7 weeks. That's kind of that. Okay, 5 minutes, question and answer. Go.
Pandora put a question in the chat.
Yeah, he answered it. Thank you.
I didn't look.
It was just, I didn't know what the worksheets, like how to use them, but you just went over it. So perfect. Thank
Okay,
you.
good.
I really appreciated that podcast episode that had the guest on it, where he was talking about, starting off just having a lot of grace for yourself and starting simply and not beating yourself up and not going to extreme. It was really helpful. So thanks for
I'm
sharing.
not sure why we want that. I don't know why human beings are so set on it's either yes or no, in or out, black or white. Like life isn't like that at all. It's not even remotely close to that cut and dry. So why are we I had a whole conversation completely separate from and unrelated to like fitness and nutrition. I forget what we were talking about earlier at breakfast. We're in Santa Barbara with Melissa's mom and her brother, like celebrating her birthday week or graduation weekend. Anyway, we were talking about something completely unrelated, and it was like we ended up realizing that we were kind of like fighting about, not fighting, but like not seeing eye to eye about something that like it could never be answered with this is the answer. Here, stamp is on it and it's done. I don't know why we seek that in everything that we do. People want to know this is the best training program or the worst training program. It can't be anything in between. This is the best nutrition thing. I have to eat only clean for the rest of my life, or I'm not going to do it at all. It's like, why do we do that? It's so silly. So anyway, it's all about just to be as cliche
Well,
as
because it
possible.
sucks
And
to
it's kind
put
of a
yourself out there and put effort into something and not have it work. And then you're like,
well,
then why bother putting effort into something if it's not going to work the way you want it to work?
Okay, there it is. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work if it's not 100% adherence and compliance, right? Doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means it's going to take a little bit longer, or it's going to move a little bit slower, or even if it fails, you kind of learned that whatever that was that you were trying to do
Doesn't work
wasn't the
that
way that
way.
you should be doing it, right? So realistically, like what's the cliche thing to say? It's like you win or you learn or something like that, or 1% every day. Who knows?
And then I know you have to leave at 5:30, but I think another thing with the like failure, or like 100% adherence, or just you failed, or you lose weight, or you failed, like is when we do stuff like Whole Life Challenge, there's a fixed period of time. So like you're really strict, but you're only really strict for a fixed period of time, and they're like, sweet, I'm done, I finished it, and then you go back. It's like, because you see it as a temporary thing. So I feel like the way you're structuring this, and also everybody giving themselves like a ramp up to what is manageable for them in their daily lives, will help it be more like, this isn't a challenge. This is like the rest of setting up a pattern for the rest of your life, because it's not, the challenge will be the rest of your life eating this way, like eating in a way that's sustainable, that's healthy for you. Because you're never going to, or you'll have periods to dip and like, well, it's my birthday or it's winter time or something, but there's not going to be like a end of the 6 weeks where go back to eating shit again, prep again.
Yeah, it's like it's Melissa's graduation weekend, and we're gonna go crazy this whole thing, and we're gonna spend some time in Santa Barbara, drinking wine
Yeah,
and
but you're
eating
going to come
food that
home
I
and
would
you'll
never
be
do that.
fine.
Yeah.
But you're going to come home and be fine, and then you're going to have a whole summer of other things to do too. But it's realizing that just because you did this weekend doesn't mean that that threw you off track.
We've grown
Yeah,
up
and
our
that's
whole lives. We've grown up our whole lives going to school, taking a class, getting a grade at the end, and you either passed or you failed. So through our whole lives, that feeling gets perpetuated with you do something and you get a grade, and you either passed or you failed. There's not a gray like, oh, we'll make some changes next time. You get reviewed at
And
work.
It's quantitative, not qualitative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the message that all of the people. There might be people spouting a different message in these communities that are like the fitness and lifestyle and nutrition and all of these communities. I don't think that there are. I think the resounding consensus is like you should be looking at this as trying to chase as sustainable and potentially as sustainable a strategy as possible that you could potentially slowly, gradually build on top of. I think that is like most of the people in this space agree that, and behavioral sciences and pretty much that anyone who deals with human beings, that's the better way to do it. It's just for some reason we don't want it to be that. We want to have the right answer and we want it and be done. So I don't know.
Well,
Anyway.
thanks, Will, and tell Melissa congratulations. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun.
Yes. Okay,
Have
thank
a delicious
you.
dinner if you haven't eaten yet.
Text me if you guys have any questions. I know we had to cut it short, so just text me or WhatsApp the group, and we'll get it answered.
Sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.